Starsector, a space sandbox simulation where you go, you travel, you trade, you fight, you build. It's pretty much Bannerlord in space. That's the easiest way to describe it. Anyways, our hero of this story is Captain Miranda Lynn in her Tempest-class frigate, the Panda Express. We begin by trading for the most precious commodity in the entire galaxy. They're lobsters. It is what it is. Anyways, we have just enough money to buy 5 of the Voltan lobster. Only found here, for now. We will change that later on. But for now, we will use the supply and demand to our advantage and trade. We have to go halfway across the galaxy to get the most profit out of our lobsters, but it is a necessary sacrifice, especially at this point when we can only carry 5. So we sell them for a cool 750 credits and head on back to the planet of Voltan to get more. This time grabbing 70. We can quickly check with F1 to see where the biggest profit margin is, and it looks like we are headed back where we just came from. So we head back to where we just came from to get the most of our lobsters, and we head back to buy more. This process is repeated a couple times. On one of our trips back, we find the it's a ship. We find a ship floating in space. Sometimes you can find wrecks from battles or just really old ships that have been abandoned. In this case, this ship can be salvaged without any extra resources. So we pick it up, with intent to sell it. That's exactly what I do. We sell it for 6,000 credits, and in that time I've also picked up a freighter and a tanker. We also pick up a couple S-mods while we're here. These are upgrades you can add to your ship. You can add various different things, from defenses to offenses, logistic capabilities. There's all kinds of different stuff. We will look into those a little more later on. We decide to branch out from lobsters and start arms dealing. We are conveniently in a place where heavy weapons are being sold on the cheap. And they're like, look at the profit margins, they're on screen. We can make 1,000 big ones. Anyways, this does come with its own catch. Weapons are illegal in a lot of markets, so we may have to utilize the black market. The black market is a secondary market you can find on every planet. You don't have to pay taxes when you use it, and you can sell illegal goods. However, it is frowned upon to enter it. There's ways to hide yourself from using the black market. You can turn off your transponder. This comes with its own problems, however. So you gotta weigh the pros and cons. Anyways, we get back to trading. And we continue with our trading. It's been a couple hours at this point. We have a decent amount of money. It was at this point we leveled up. Now, you have a whole bunch of different skill paths. Quick note, you can only get max level, I believe, is 15. You cannot possibly get every skill. In our case, I will be rushing for automated ships. This will let us get AI ships, which are very illegal in the sector, but they are also very good. So, yeah, it's worth the rush. We have a brief run-in with some pirates. They almost catch up to us, but we get lucky and this storm sends us off course enough, but they find us anyway. And I don't want to deal with them, so we use one of our story points to escape. Story points are a kind of currency that you just passively accumulate throughout the game. They can be used for various things. Like, you can use them to recover ships. We don't do that here because it's not worth the story point, in my opinion. Even bigger ships, such as, let's say, a battle carrier, like the one we just saw in that sun, wouldn't be worth it, especially at this point in the game. I don't really have the logistics capabilities to support it, so it's just more salvage for the scrapyard. Yeah, we're sending a lot of stuff to this scrapyard right now. At this point, it's been a couple hours, and I'm bored of trading, so we're exploring nowhere space. These are uncharted territories. We are boldly going where no one has gone before. And we find a habitable world. So we head over to check it out, and we find there is a signal coming from the planet. This is the main quest of the game. The first planet you'll survey will always have this. It starts you off with a data core that you pick up, and you are instructed to return it to the academy. So we will eventually do that. Unfortunately, we can't perform our survey because we don't have the machines needed to do that. So we're gonna just move on to the next star and see what's going on over there. Different planet sizes have different requirements, so we might find something we can actually interact with. No, this is a completely empty place, but there's more ships for us to salvage. So more salvage for the salvage yard. And a domain era probe that I decide I'm not going to engage. Perhaps another day when we actually have warships. We move on to another star. Completely exploring this small nebula, but there are hostiles. I decide, you know what, let's check it out. It's a big fleet of terrorists, so we very quickly take a look at the map and we get out of there. We just want to leave this system. We make our way back towards civilization. This is probably a good time to bring up the fact that this is a modded playthrough, and we are headed towards New Aurora, which is from a mod that I was tricked into adding. Thanks for that, by the way. Anyways, it's a faction mod with a bunch of anime waifus, but more importantly, and the reason I kept it, they have some pretty damn good nuclear missiles, and their ships look like Star Destroyers. So those are on the list of things that we are probably going to pick up, but that will be a later date. Right now we're just going to grab some supplies and be on our way for now. I decide we could explore the Legion Nebula. Maybe there's cool things in there. I look a little more around the map. We still have the entire galaxy to look at. Everything is open to us. So we head out on our way, and we make our way towards the Legion Nebula. I don't believe I found anything there, because, well, you'd see if I did, and spoilers, there's no footage of the Legion Nebula coming up. The footage I do have for you, however, is our first combat. Leaving this system, I notice there is a bit of a battle between pirates and some kind of war fleet. I take a quick gander at this, quickly notice there's a battleship involved on the good guys' side, so I say, you know what? What the hell, why don't we jump into this? It's a decent time for combat. I also found a ship. You can see it there. It's some kind of weird slug ship. It's not very good. It gets broken down for scrap. There's no point in talking about it. Anyways, I examine the ships for the battle and decide to go in. Combat in this game can be really, really simple or really, really complex depending on how you set it up. You can set all your ships up to automatically fire. You can put your ship on autopilot. All the other ships are autopilot, and we have a battle map. You can issue orders from here. Perhaps in a later video, I'll put an unedited battle in, like straight from my live stream. Yeah, this entire thing was streamed live on Twitch TV. I do all my video game playing there, so I would recommend checking it out. I do more than just Starsector. We play a little bit of everything. We got Starsector, we got RimWorld, sometimes there's Pokemon, sometimes there's Mario. It can be anything. I have a whole bunch of games on Steam because they keep selling them to me every summer for 30 cents. So I would like to get through those at some point. Maybe some of those will be there. Who knows? But anyway, we're making quick work of this battle. I'm doing very little in this battle in particular. Kind of unfortunate because the Tempest is a good ship. It is one of the best frigates if not the best, that isn't a super weapon. There are a couple of those. There's a ship called the Excelsior. Perhaps you'll see a video on that later. Probably not, because it has a very, very high skill ceiling. No, skill floor. It has a high skill floor and a high skill ceiling. It's very complicated. Anyway, the battle is won to no help from me. We get a little bit of wreckage from it, and turns out we can't carry that, so I ditch the random bits of metal. When you ditch items, they show up as cargo pods on the overmap, so you could go pick them up at any time, realistically, unless someone else does. It's at this point I decide to invest in a USL license. This is another mod. It adds shipping contracts. There's a big board. Pretty straightforward. It gives you the things, tells you where to go. You have a time limit. You don't make it there in time, you pay a huge fine for messing it up. So with that unlocked, we also invest in a Colossus heavy freighter. It's just a bigger freighter. We don't keep it, so it don't matter. And to complete a contract, you just go talk to the lady where you have to be. This system where we complete the contract, something caught my eye. There is an automated ship market. Very interesting. And we take a quick look at these. Some of them are pretty good. I'm mostly interested in the frigates. They end up being fairly important, we'll say. But if you notice, we need to have a bit of relations with these guys before they'll let us buy anything. So the next couple hours are going to be dedicated to getting this faction to like me. And we can actually do that through the contracts. You see, when you complete them, the faction that sends you there and the faction that receives you give you +1 to relations. For my own sanity, we do take a break to go back exploring, and we find a weapon cache in this system. Occasionally you'll find other things floating in space besides ships. You'll find weapon and supply caches. In this case, it was all weapons. We have a couple blueprints, a couple fighters, a couple guns. Nothing too interesting out of this one. However, this system holds something very interesting, and we are rushing straight for it. We find an auric world. Essentially, it's a planet made of gold, and we are gonna make a beeline straight for that one and survey it. And this world, let me tell you, it's a world. And what do I mean by that? Well, you're about to see, because we're gonna perform our survey, and look at that. That's a lot of stuff going on this world. It's got minerals, it's got organics, it has farmland. It's a good planet. We keep this in mind, and well, give me like 10 minutes, you'll see what happens here. Anyways, we leave for now, and I debate surveying the rest of the system, but none of them are really good. So at this point, my strategy is just to hop around, survey only good planets, and come back for the rest later. So that's what we're gonna do here in this sector we're in. Let me tell you, I don't really have much to say about like the rest of this clip, but we go in here and it's like, oh, okay, cool. This sector's empty. Maybe there's not much going on here. We move on to the next star. And then we get to this star. Oh boy. I really hate the storms in the overworld, by the way. They fuck me over more than anything. Anyways, here we go. We pop in here and boom, all of those little pop-ups that just showed up, those are all planets. You can see them on the maps here. It's unreal how much is over here. And it's not just this system. There's a lot more going on in this part of the galaxy. And our intention is to build a little home here. A lot of these planets are barren, however. There's a couple good ones. But we also have a terraforming mod, so it's kind of irrelevant. We do fix that later. There is a water world here. Spoilers, we do capture it. Oh yeah, remember that data core we found? Well, I happened to be at the academy, so I decided we should return it. This is the main quest of the game. I read all the dialogue out on stream that will be coming up here. For the sake of the video, I've cut it down quite a bit. You can pause and read it all if you want. I did leave it all in. I think in the future, for the sake of the story, I'll just put the whole raw story points in the video. To be completely honest, I'm 30 hours further into this playthrough, and we haven't really touched the main story since this part. Anyways, you're probably wondering what the hell's going on here. Well, I can summarize it real quick. So, the fella who owned the data core no longer works for the academy. He is gone, and that's that. There's a new person in charge. They do still pay us for the data core, luckily, so it wasn't for nothing. And furthermore, the academy still wants to work with us. Not sure what they want from us at this point in time, because I've been a little busy selling lobsters on the side. And we'll probably get back to this at some point. In the meantime, we ask a couple questions. We've been getting monthly stipends from them, and we do ask about that a little further on in the video here. And it turns out the guy before he left, it was some, in short, it was some like legal loophole shenanigans. He couldn't have the money, so he didn't want them to have it, or something, is how I understood it. Anyways, I don't really got much else to say. I guess here's the quest. It's probably going to be more efficient if I just read it out on stream and then put it in there directly. I have a bad habit of reading stuff silently though, so it would just be silence if I did that for this particular clip, and I didn't think that'd be good for a good solid 5 minutes, and so instead I'm gonna ramble about nothing. Yeah, here we go. We're asking about the stipend. Essentially it was to screw over the hegemony, who those guys don't like AI very much, so yeah, we're gonna be fighting them later for sure, because I have that AI ship perk that we're taking. We do a little ship shopping after our visit with the academy. Something catches my eye. I think you can tell which one. And sometimes you can find ships on the black market that you normally have to get relations to buy. In this case, we don't find it. Anyways, this massive freighter is something I really want, and we're gonna come back for that eventually. We go back to exploring, and we find this guy on a planet who offers to trade us supplies for some machines, and we accept his offer and get back to performing our survey. Find some ruins on this planet. Ruins are very important. You can find all kinds of goods there. Really expensive goods, really useful goods. In this particular case, we managed to find some terraforming equipment, which we will be making use of later. Nothing else of real value is found in this one, however. After that brief exploration trip, we have some money saved up, so I buy a massive transport. We no longer need this little transport, so that can get out of here, and we name this transport the bus. We now have the bus, the U-Haul, spaceship, and of course the Panda Express. And here's the S-mods. In this case, we're going to put an efficiency overhaul on this ship, and I believe that is it for now. We're about 8 hours into the stream at this point, and I've finally acquired the relation we need with this faction to buy their automated ships. So we're deciding what class of frigate we want. We go with the Rainblade class. We want to have 10 of them. At this point in time, they only have 6 for sale, so we just say, alright, let's take what we can get, and we buy out their entire stock of 6 Rainblade class frigates. These will be making up the backbone of our military for the time being. And the thing about ships in this game, there's a lot of customization. You see, by default, your ships don't have weapons. You have to buy those separately. But you can buy all kinds of different kinds. There's 3 different weapons in the game. You got your energy, you got your kinetic, you got your missiles. Different ships have different mounts that can put different things on them. There's different sizes. In this particular case, we got a kinetic and an energy. So we'll be putting a point defense laser on and whatever random gun they have the most of. I want them all to be the same. So we just load them up as we do. And rather than name all these different things, we just decide as a stream that this will be known as Duck Squadron. So they all get named Duck 1, Duck 2, all the way up to Duck 10. And that's that. Finally, to end the stream, we head back to the Gold Planet. I forgot to mention why we bought the bus. It's so we could carry enough guys to start a colony. And the Gold Planet was the best option. So we buy that, we call it Falador, and we establish our faction, the Gillinor Republic. And that's the end of the stream. I put down a farm, and we call it a day there. I do a little more exploring, and we find a Tempest-class frigate that was modified by pirates. I believe I scrapped this ship, so it's not really worth talking about. We did take a look at it a little bit. If it had a large missile mount, I probably would have kept it. Anyways, yeah, to wrap up here, this is the first time I've ever done a voiceover for one of my videos slash streams slash whatever, and to be honest, I think I did a pretty bad job. I think my live stream self will make more appearances in the future, but that's for a later date. For now, this was a 9-hour stream of Starsector that I managed to condense down in less than 25 minutes. So, yeah, I think I did a good job there. Not a lot happened. Early game is a lot of trading, and trust me, more action happens later. We'll be doing a lot more fighting. There will be a lot of explosions, and a lot of people will die. But that's all a story for next time.